What's up, everybody? It's Jay and Holler here. We are the Fantasy Effect. This is episode 50.
Heyo.
We're going to be previewing the fantasy football finals this week. We are brought to you by Dynasty Theory in partnership with Dynasty Daddy, and as always, Fantasy Football Infinity. Hope everybody had a good holiday or Christmas or whatever it is that you celebrate. Hope you had a good time with family, friends, loved ones, just yourself and your TV, if that's what you're into. Holler, what's up, man?
What's up? I'm a little sleepy on this matinee that we have here, but we're ready. It was a really good holiday for me and the fam, and we had some good games. It was Amari Cooper went off. My goodness.
Amari Cooper did go off, man. I mean, we can kind of get into the recap a little bit. Just skip ahead, but man, Joe Flacco. If I had told you in this offseason if Joe Flacco was going to be winning people fantasy football championships and getting to the finals, like, what would you have said to me?
I would have said you're crazy. Goodness gracious. I mean, I'm impressed, man. Just coming off the street and just whipping it around. I mean, I didn't really tune in too much to that because I was watching Red Zone, so I just saw. But I would like to see more of Flacco to see if he's just if he's doing well or he's just the product of Cleveland has a good line, they have good wide receivers. So I think he's obviously doing pretty well, but
I mean, that's 3 straight games over 300
yeah,
yards.
Yeah. So
now he is turning the ball over too. Let's not.
Yeah. So I mean, he's still an older guy, and you can see the he is you can see that he's coming off the street. So, but hey, I'm impressed.
Hey, he's looked better than any other quarterbacks they've rolled out there this year, including Deshaun Watson, who they paid just a bajillion dollars for. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Craziness. All right, let's get into the news here. We actually had some breaking news right before the show started, so let's start with this. So the Denver Broncos, who are still technically alive in the playoff race, are benching Russell Wilson due to financial reasons, which is like the weirdest reason I've ever seen someone get benched before in my life. But Jarrett Stidham is going to be the starter here. What are we thinking?
I got to dive into this a bit more. I mean, I when we were waiting here a bit, I was trying to figure out why, and kind of really my only understanding is financial reasons. They don't want him to get injured. I think they're kind of looking in they're pretty far out, so I think that's part of the reason why. But I don't know. I'm not in love with Russ as much as JB, so please check in on JB. Make sure he's doing okay. But I do have some Russ in some finals games, so that's a big blow, and I'm sure others do as well because he was like a cheaper option and somebody that maybe you could have went out before the playoffs and grabbed. So that's a big blow, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean I have Russ in quite a few finals matchups, and including one where I had paid a first for him like 4 weeks ago, because I had lost Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones, and Deshaun Watson all in one spree. So that league is somehow made the finals. Luckily, I already agreed to a pot split in that one. So that was
the splits are nice when you have some of these things happen.
For sure. So yeah, I don't know. Do you think does this mean Russell Wilson, is he out in Denver next year? Because I think there's some weird contract clauses they could get out from under that contract if they're not happy with him. It doesn't sound like Sean Payton's super in love with him as a quarterback, but or is this just more they're not really realistic to make the playoffs and they're just trying to protect their highest paid asset?
So I think I could go either way there. I mean, because I felt like Russ had a good game. Obviously, it was the Patriots last game, but I felt like he had a good game. I mean, they beat them. They beat the Broncos. So, but, I think I could see Sean Payton wanting his own guy, but the thing is that there's not really any quarterbacks coming. There's not many quarterbacks that are going to be in the that are going to be available. Right? Unless you're going to be grabbing a rookie quarterback, which is always an option. but I just they're gonna be picking in the middle of the draft,
Mhm.
nowhere like no not early. So to me, I kind of feel like this is just kind of saving their asset, right? And they don't want them to get injured. They're
Yeah.
kind of out of the playoffs. Like their team's not really going anywhere. I doubt Sutton plays. All those things. So I think they're just kind of saving the quarterback. I don't know for sure. I want to look into this more.
This can't, like, be good for team morale though, right? Like,
100%.
I don't
Yeah.
know, like, that's your quarterback, and you're just like, "Oh, we're not," and they're still technically alive for the playoffs, and these guys are like, "Okay, well, what are we playing for then if we're like,
Yeah.
our quarterback's
Yeah.
not even gonna suit up with us?" Like, that can't be, and it doesn't sound like he's overly popular with his teammates anyway,
Ex
so
exactly. So I don't
it's
eh,
concerning.
I'm assuming it's an organizational, like, decision. So I don't think it really is gonna hurt, I think, an overall team morale, but, I don't think it's gonna hurt like, "Oh, Russ did this," or, I think it's probably just kinda reserving or conserving their asset, and that's kinda my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, I think time will tell on this one.
Yeah.
Just going to another team that has quarterback issues, the Commanders. They benched Sam Howell the last 2 weeks, and then now it sounds like Jacoby Brissett is going to start for them this weekend against the 49ers. Is Sam Howell done, or is this just, maybe the game's moving a little too fast for him? They're going to let him sit and kind of see what's going on for a minute.
I think this is a little bit twofold, right? I think, Ron Rivera is trying to save his job, which his job is already dead. And I think Sam Howell is also dead. Like the from top down, I think when they got those new owners, I think this whole team's gonna get an overhaul. They sent away those defenders to get picks. Those are good. Those were both good defenders. Like I don't. Those are like cornerstones on your defense. I don't know why you're sending those away, but I just think those owners are kind of having a total overhaul, and so
Hmm.
I think they're trying to put their stamp on the organization, and I think this is just a Ron Rivera like, hey, let me see if I can save my job.
I think so, but I think his job's got to be done though, right? Like
Yes.
they've been
Yeah.
eliminated from the playoffs. Like I can't imagine, and now they're so right now I just pulled up Tankathon. They have a third overall pick right now, so they are in
Yeah.
prime position to get one of those quarterbacks. I imagine they probably want a new coach to come in and hand select a quarterback. I
Yep.
think Rivera's done, right? Like,
Yeah.
and Hal is too.
Yep. So I liked Howell a lot, but I don't know if there's something that happened or whatever, but I think he just kind of came down to earth, right? At the beginning of the year, he started really well. He was throwing the ball all over the place, kind of getting like a bunch of yards, but obviously they didn't win many games. So, I think he's just not even a game manager. I just think the the defense caught up to him, to be honest. Defenses.
I think so too. Yeah, it's a bummer. It was a fun story there for a little bit, but it sounds like
Yeah.
the dream is dead
Yep.
there. All right, let's move on to some injury news. We had quite a few this week, unfortunately. It seems like they just keep piling up more and more.
Every week, my goodness.
Let's start with the big one though. T.J. Hawkinson went out with a torn ACL and MCL, so this is a kind of a devastating one in my
Yep.
opinion. So he was firmly in that tight end two range, tight end one, tight end two range, in dynasty rankings at least for tight ends,
Yep.
and now I mean he tore it like what, basically Christmas Day or Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Um, he's gonna get surgery. The timeline there, like September, it'll be like 9 months. I think he's probably going to be a pup candidate to
Mhm.
miss at least the first 6 weeks next year. What are we doing with Hawkinson? Are we trying to buy on the cheap? Are we worried about him? Like that's not just like a clean like ACL tear. That's getting a ACL and MCL is going to be,
Yeah.
those
That's
are a little more rough.
that's brutal. So I had a championship
Ooh.
team. Hey, Ron.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, my
No problem.
you're
So I had
what is
a
going on?
championship team that I sent Hawkinson away. I got Sam Laporta and Devon A. Chan, and I sent Hawkinson and a bunch of seconds, four of them to be exact, over to Roy. And so, if I have Hawkinson and I'm not in the playoffs, I'm keeping him because you're probably not going to get very good return. If I don't think I'm going to compete next year, then yeah, maybe I'll try to buy on cheap and maybe move like a. Well, I would like to wait and see what we hear about Kelsey, right? So maybe you can move a Kelsey for
Mm.
Hawkinson, and maybe the Kelsey the Kelsey might need a plus, to be honest. But like maybe the team is like, because usually on Hawkinson, like if you had Hawkinson, your team's doing pretty well most of the time, or you had already moved him. And maybe I'm thinking like move a Kelsey for Hawkinson and get yourself a little bit younger. But if you have Kelsey, your team's probably good. So that one's going to be tough.
Well, dude, I've heard some rumors too that Kelsey might be retiring at the end of this year too.
That's
So where's
Yeah, that's what I mean. I said I want to
Oh,
wait a little bit and see. That would be a huge blow. But
yeah, man. So I have a couple teams that have Hawkinson. And actually, one of them that was in the finals. I made a trade today because I didn't have any tight ends. So I want to know what you guys think of this. So I traded away Jameson Williams, and in return, and you guys know how I feel about JMO, but in return, I got Gerald Everett. Another tight end who was Jawan Johnson and Taylor Heineke. I also lost Kenny Pickett. I only had Jordan Love as my one quarterback. It's a 16-team league.
all three of those guys for JMO,
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
yeah.
Nice.
That's
I made that trade with JB today. So
You
I
guys
mean,
are a bunch of JMO haters. I got to see what animals down
I-
here with me.
I like it. I mean, if there's those are some fill-ins for a championship game.
Yeah.
I mean, it would hurt if JMO was doing a little bit better, but I mean, he's just a boomer bust guy. He's like
Yeah.
I he could be good, but to me, just boomer bust. So that's not going to help you in a championship game.
Yeah,
No.
there's just so much in the Lions offense, which is crazy.
Yeah.
A crazy thought to think out loud. That there's just not enough volume to go around to everybody, and he really has to be super efficient when he does touch the ball.
Yep, 100%.
Did you guys do the big news, the Russell Wilson news?
We did. We
Oh
did.
my lord! Wow.
We
Wow.
let our listeners know to check in on JB.
Yeah, man.
Send a
That's
welfare
so
check on him.
crazy. Are they still alive in the playoff race, or did those 3 losses
Technically,
knock them
yes,
out?
but it's pretty dire. Like they need a lot of help. They have to win out, and they need a
Something
lot
like
of help.
5% now, isn't it, that they can make
Yes.
the playoffs?
I want to
Yep.
say it's even less than that.
Yeah. With their loss to the Patriots, they're pretty much done. But if other teams lose,
Sure.
but Jared Stidham's not going to take them to any wins. So
I don't know. He might. Sean seems pretty confident.
Mm.
Dan learned everything he learned from Sean, so
that's true. DJ Moore, leg and ankle. I do not feel good about him. He may play, but I do not feel good about him this week.
No. That was bad. Because that happened. He basically caught like one pass and then he went out, right?
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate. Unfortunately, he sank a couple of my teams. And then Jalen Waddle, similar thing. He caught like that 50-yard pass in his game. Then he went out with an eye injury, and then I think he came back. And then he hurt his leg, and that was not good. And then Jordan Addison also went out with an ankle. So some big name wide receivers there are just went to the blue tent this week and kind of screwed up some fantasy lineups. But
yeah, so I don't think DJ Moore. I don't know if he'll play, but I'm pretty sure Jalen Waddle will not play. So make sure you're taking him out. And then Jordan Addison, have you guys heard anything? I have not.
They said that he was day-to-day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever that means. I guess watch the injury reports. I think Thursday and Friday in particular will be telling. If he can't get in at least the limited session on Friday, he's probably not playing.
Yeah. We'll get to it later, but I honestly don't feel too good about the Dolphins playing the Ravens this week.
No. Yeah.
No, that defense is legit. Ask Brock Purdy.
The Dolphins stat got you probably a bye in the first round of the playoffs and has let you down. So
yeah, man, that sucks. Are we into the Week 16 review?
Let's
We
do
are,
it.
Ron. You wanna?
I'm all out of sorts. I thought you guys were still. I didn't see the little live tag when I first popped in, so I thought you guys were just like conversating about whatever, and then I realized it was up there. I was like, oh shit.
No worries.
Yeah, man. It's just we can get into hollers, guys. We can get into McSpankies, guys. You guys get after it here. I'll get in on the week 17 matchups.
Holler, why don't you kick us off?
All right. So my first guy was Lamar. He just went in and snatched the MVP right from Brock Purdy. And I am a Brock Purdy hater, so take this as you will, but I did not really feel like he was an MVP. And so, I think he's just a player that's got really good, guys around him. But Lamar, I think Lamar solidified the MVP for himself. I think he needs maybe one more good game, but I'm pretty sure if they get that first round bye, they win the AFC East, and I think or North, excuse me, and then I think he gets that MVP. So, and he had a really good game. Got yourself some good points there with Lamar. And then this is kind of a twofer. Baker showed out, and then Mike Evans, old reliable, seven catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Man, I think we were all worried about him. Mike Evans going in the year, and that guy just has put up so many good numbers. So I'm assuming if he's on your team is made the semis or is in the finals. I have about 2 or 3 of those Mike Evans in my championship games. And then just to highlight a tight end, Chiggy finally actually got himself a touchdown. He had six catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. So honestly, with Tannehill, the Titans looked pretty good. They were moving the ball well. I don't really know if it's Tannehill or if it was the opponent. I think it was kind of more the opponent, to be honest. And then James Conner, another old reliable. That guy, I feel like he's dead, and then he comes back and has another good game. 12 for 45 on the ground, and then 567 and a touchdown. So fire him up in your championship games this week, because I'm assuming he's going to be on your team. He's another guy that, if you're a championship team, you're going out and grabbing him because he was cheap. But those are my guys from week 16. A couple guys keep showing up when we've been doing these reviews. Mike Evans has been one that keeps showing up for me, because he's putting up numbers.
He's crazy, and he's a free agent. I mean, he's a little bit older, I know, but do you think he gets a bag this offseason, or do you think he's going to go somewhere and try to get more of a championship contender vet discount and try to go chase a title?
I probably
would got the title.
Yeah.
That's get on another one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, once you win one, you probably want to win more. But
so I could see him going either way, but everybody wants the money. So, part of
his last contract negotiation was so long ago. I can't really remember how it went, and I don't think I was this in tuned as I am now to what players are saying. I don't really know if he's a money type of guy or he's kind of I'll take a hometown discount.
It seems like he's not going to take a hometown discount based on how the negotiations went this offseason. Sure. Then again, he's vibing with Baker, it seems like, so maybe things have changed during the season.
I do think Baker comes back, because they don't have an early pick. So I think Baker comes back. So I think they're going to try to sign Mike Evans because that team is solid, right? They need a few more pieces, but if they bring back Evans, if they bring back Baker, Rashad White's playing well. To me, that team is looking solid. They need a few more pieces, but but I could see him go. I could see him even going to get some more money but honestly, I feel like the Bucks are probably a good spot to give him a lot of money.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they did some good work with their cap, and I think they're actually in a good spot this offseason. But I mean, and the Bucks too, if they win this week, I think they win that division. So they're in a good spot.
I think that there was a story that Baker has possibly played himself into the Buccaneers quarterback for the foreseeable future. Sure. just because of what you guys have mentioned, money wise, where they're going to land at their draft picks.
Yep.
It's tough to get a quarterback.
Do we trust Baker? I mean, we've kind of seen him put together, stretches of games where he's looked good, but I mean, now is he going to get kind of like a long-term contract and then just like look at, Daniel Jones, he played well last year and then he got a kind of a big deal. And, I know he got injured, but he wasn't playing well before that. Like, do you think teams are going to, I guess, trust some of these guys that are a little more streaky, or do you think you're going to give them kind of like maybe like a 2-year, like kind of more of a prove it kind of option?
I'm leaning towards the prove it, because they gave him that 1 year, and I think, part of me think I don't know if it's just recently how the Bucks have operated, but I just think they're not like they're more of like a couple year with their quarterback guy. So I think he gets a 2-year deal. I wouldn't say I will like trust Baker, but I feel like he's a solid QB2 on a super flex. Someone that.
What would you pay for him? The late first?
So, no, I can't pay a late first. I'd rather have those players, especially in 24, to get like a good wide receiver, or even like maybe like a Bo Nix if I had a 111, 112. Right, Spanky?
Lord, Bo Nix is not going in the first of Superflex drafts.
He might,
yeah. So I don't know. That one's tough. I think it would really depend on my team. So maybe I could do a second and a plus, like a late second and a plus, because if you're going out and getting Baker, I would assume you have already like a center point piece with your first quarterback, and you just need a second quarterback and somebody that's going to help you kind of get over the hump.
Like a late second. Like if I'm the Baker manager, I'm not sending him away for that. I want a lot more.
That's why I said like a piece, right? So I think it totally depends. Like it would need to be like maybe like a young, like a wide receiver that hasn't superly produced. I don't know. It's tough because I think in order to get Baker off of teams, you're gonna need to send a late first. But like, I don't know if I want to do that.
What if you send your late first for Baker and then you get a team's like mid second?
I'd do that.
Okay.
I'm closer to hitting the accept on that one. I still don't know.
Yeah. So
what about Rashee Rice for Baker?
I probably take, assuming super flex here, I'd probably take a Baker, but I like Rashee Rice. There's so many good receivers coming in this year, and I think Rashee Rice might be more a product of Kansas City has no one else rather than it being Rashee Rice being the actual like talent there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if Travis Kelce does retire, he's like he'll be the guy that people want to like match up with, right? And so I last week I saw some miscommunication with, I think that the Kansas City was all out of sorts last week, but I saw some miscommunication with
just a little bit.
Yeah, they were
with Mahomes and Rashee Rice. So I don't know. I like Rashee Rice, but I think I'm going with Baker there.
Yeah, I figured I would float that one because he was like a mid-2, a mid-second coming into the rookie drafts, and he's kind of creeped his way up here based off of the last few weeks. Just kind of trying to project his future. I still don't trust Baker either, though. I think he's just a streaky quarterback anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's why Tampa gives him the prove it type deal, because they can't, hitch their wagons to this dude on a massive contract. You really hamstring yourself. You do something like that, hurt your team, and they're kind of an aged roster to begin with, especially at the wide receiver position. We were talking about Mike Evans, So I think just for responsibility's sake, they should just give him that prove it type deal. And I do think they probably should pay him, because I don't think you're going to find somebody else to come in and do at least what Baker has done or better than him this year from where you're at.
Totally agree.
For sure. But if Mike Evans does leave, be cautious with your Baker shares. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
We get into the week 17 matchups. I think we spent a lot of time on the review there.
Let's do it. Okay, we got the Jets at Browns. You guys think Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper are going to dominate this Jets matchup? Sauce Gardner out there, DJ Reed, I think is the other corner. Elite defense out here.
Man,
I think
I
Flacco.
think this is a. We were kind of talking about this a little bit before the show. We're talking about Flacco, Cooper, and Brees Hall, how they got you here to the finals. But unfortunately, I think all of them you're probably going to have to start. But this could be a situation where you start them and you're going to be very disappointed. I mean, Brees Hall in particular.
I agree.
Trevor Simeon's going to give it a go. They have no offense. It's just Brees Hall. The Browns actually have a competent defense, and then the Jets secondary is really good too. So I would be really nervous. I do not feel good about starting any of them, but unfortunately I think you're going to have to start all three of those guys.
Yep, and even Njoku. And so I was looking at my finals matchup, seeing if I wanted to split with the other teams. I have one random league that I'm like, should I do it? But I noticed he has 6 players. I don't know who they all are, but in this Jets Browns matchup, and I was like,
geez.
That's not good.
That one.
I'm not splitting. I think I don't want to get overly confident, but I feel good. When you have a Thursday night game against, I think the Browns they're going to score in the beginning. I don't know who's going to score exactly, but I think this game will get out of hand, and I think it's going to be low scoring overall. So like when I say out of hand, don't take me it's not going to get crazy, but I think like Browns score early and easy, like maybe a 14 zip kind of thing, and then
that might be enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're the Browns and you don't turn the ball over, I don't think New York can beat you.
And I think Jerome Ford is a solid play this week because I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I don't know. It's in Cleveland, so you know how Cleveland
the
weather is in December.
This time of year.
Yeah. So.
Super nice right now.
I don't feel good with the fantasy players in this one on Thursday night.
The over/under set at 35, by the way, for that game, which is like comically low. And the Browns are a 7.5 point favorite, so they're not giving the Jets much credit.
No, they are not. They are. Vegas is right with us. Yeah,
with good reason, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, because that defense will turn you over just as easily as the Jets, or the Browns defense will turn you over just as easily as that Jets defense will. That's for sure.
Yep,
that's the thing. I
think, part of me thinks the Jets have, I want to say, fully given up, but that defense did not look as good last week. They were up big, and then they, the Commanders came back.
Well, they're eliminated from the playoffs, so I don't think. I mean, there's nothing to play for. I mean,
right. Aaron Rodgers' pride.
Yeah,
well, he's not playing either.
He's not playing. Yeah,
he's such a bum. Okay. So the Lions are playing the Cowboys on Saturday, and this game has turned out to be a huge game. I'll tell you what, I thought the Cowboys were going to rout the Lions, honestly, the way they played defense up until about the Broncos game. I know that Nick Mullins threw for 400 yards, but honestly, the reason I didn't find this out till after the game, it didn't feel like he threw for 400 yards in that game. I'll tell you what, he felt confused and lost, and I think there's a few big plays, 140 that is freaking Justin Jefferson himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that.
But I think it's going to be a better game, than I initially thought, which I'm excited for. Oh, go ahead, Spanky.
I was just gonna say I haven't bought into the Cowboys. I think they're fine. They've feasted on playing bad teams, and they've dominated the bad teams, which is great. But when they play teams with like winning records that actually are competent, they look very just kind of okay.
Yep. Sorry, Coach Dan, but I have not bought into the Cowboys as well. The only guy I like to me, well, I like two guys. I like CD and I like Fergie. I think Ferguson's done well. But the only guy I kind of can feel like I can rely on is CD, to be honest. And I had some Dak, right, and I was in some quarterfinals and even some semis that I lost in both because Dak was just the last 2 weeks. Which really hurt. And so, but I do think they're going to put up a lot of points in this one. So I think for fantasy terms, this will be a good game, a really good game. And also I think overall this should be a good game because there's a lot on the line.
Definitely. They're also at home too. And there's like a 20 point per game difference for the Cowboys at home and away from home, I believe.
Yeah.
Something around there.
Real quick, Tony Pollard. I mean, what is up? I can't believe he didn't score that touchdown. Holy smoke.
He cooked, man. He's bad.
Whew.
I think we know he is not a 1. He is a very good kind of 1B option,
Yeah.
but he is not a 1. And I know, Ron, I think you got to take a victory lap on that one. You were kind of saying that all off season. So.
Yeah. I saw on Twitter, I saw how Zeke hurdled a guy and got a touchdown, and then like there's all this open field for Tony Pollard, and he couldn't even get in the end zone. So
Maybe the running back 1 in Dallas is just like a cursed position, right? It
Yeah,
just makes
right?
you look,
It could be.
It just makes you look cooked, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is for sure. The Lions have a good rush defense as well, too. So
They do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind for your Tony Pollards.
The
Cowboys,
Lions
maybe
offense has been bad on the road. Just throwing that out there. Jared Goff.
We'll go inside, though. We'll be inside.
I know it's inside, but Goff doesn't play well outside of Ford Field. Just and that's been a thing his whole career, really. Like he plays well at home and not on the road. So just something to monitor.
Fingers crossed, tight butt cheeks. I'll tell you that. Titans at Texans. You guys think we're going to see CJ Stroud this weekend?
Supposedly he's supposed to practice today. So we'll keep an eye on the injury report. I think they're still firmly in the playoff race. Like I think if they win their next 2 games, I think they're in, right? So they need him. If in it,
definitely.
Assuming that he's actually ready to go, because I know it's like a concussion issue, right? You don't want to. I mean, he's so young. You don't want to like rush him back, but they do need him. So I think I do think he plays. But
that offense
is 2 weeks now too.
That offense is so much better with him. And Nico got his last week, but my goodness, just overall that offense flows 100 times better with CJ Stroud. So I'm hoping he comes back. I don't obviously have any CJ Stroud on my finals teams, but I just like to see that the Texans are fun to watch when CJ Stroud is there.
Are we going to get Ryan Tannehill or Will Levis this weekend?
Supposedly Levis said he's going to try to give it a go, and Mike Vrabel was talking about how he wants to get him these last 2 weeks of reps. I think just to kind of see if they believe in Levis, which I think they do. But you don't want to rush him back. That ankle injury looks pretty nasty.
Yeah.
This could be a situation where he might start, and then they realize he's not right, and then he gets benched, and Tannehill comes in, and it's going to be a gross one, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, it'd be good to see him, but I mean, I'd rather, I'd rather like sit him and get him right, and have one more game next week. So to me, he's done enough to be the quarterback next year. I don't think he's like great, but he's done enough, in my opinion, to be the quarterback next year.
Sure. I think so too.
Okay. Next up, we got Falcons at Bears. Okay, I want you guys to put it on the record right now. Tell me who's playing quarterback for both of these teams next season. It can be dude's not on the roster right now. They're going to keep the current starter or whatever, however you want to phrase it.
For Chicago, they're going to keep Justin Fields. For Atlanta, they are going to, they're going to get Ryan Tannehill.
Wow. I love it. Give me 1 second. Let me see the current draft order here.
So Chicago's at 1 and 8 right now, and the Falcons are at 10.
I don't think Jaden. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm with McSpanky. I think Fields is going to be a Bear next year still. And I think that they just move down from that pick and help him out. And also, I don't know that it's going to be Tannehill, but I'll say that the Falcons quarterback is not currently on this roster.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to see where. So I totally agree with both of you on Chicago. I think Justin Fields will be their quarterback, barring any crazy trade. But I just think they're going to get him some help. You don't think they get Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 1?
I a quarterback. There's so many quarterback needy teams. Someone will trade up to get them, and I think they could like Washington at 3. And Arizona could take a quarterback, and
there's so many good wide receivers. Like I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is the generational wide receiver there, but there are so many other wide receivers that if they get more picks, it would be better for them to get those picks and get a different quarterback, or get a different wide receiver. So Atlanta, I don't think I would love to see Jaden Daniels on Atlanta, but I don't think he's going to make it to 10. And I don't think I do not, because of what we just said. There's so many quarterback needy teams, right? I think quarterbacks are going to be overdrafted. If it's just how the players are, I think Jaden Daniels easily can make it to 10. But he's being hyped up. He got the Heisman, all these things. I just don't think he makes it to 10. If he does make it to 10, that's a beautiful spot for Jaden Daniels. But I agree. I don't think the quarterback is currently on the roster. I think they might go with if they keep Arthur Smith, I can totally see Ryan Tannehill coming over to the Falcons. And I'm sorry, but it's not going to look too much better for Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Just to play devil's advocate
for Jaden to go there. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick. So Chicago, they're at 1. If they keep Justin Fields, right? Arizona, they have Kyler. There's a good chance they don't take a quarterback. Washington at 3 and New England at 4 probably take one, right? So that's probably Caleb Williams and Drake May. But then you have the Giants, who have Daniel Jones under contract. The Chargers have Herbert. Tennessee, we were just talking about how we think Levis probably gets another go there. Chicago's at 8. The Jets at 9. They have Aaron Rodgers, and then it's Atlanta at 10. So there's, some of the teams that need a quarterback are kind of buried deeper, kind of in that weird zone, kind of like Las Vegas, Denver, Minnesota, 13, 14, 15 range, where they're going to have to make a huge jump up. He might make it to 10.
Yeah. And Ron, what were you saying? You wouldn't like to see Jaden Daniels there?
Yeah, just because of Arthur Smith. He's screwed everything else up. So I would hate for another one, exciting
another top 10 pick
there
to get misused.
Right, I get it,
Jaden.
I get it.
Don't use your legs. Just be a pocket passer. Like that's not going to work, man. You can't do that.
Before we move on,
about
do
the
we
Giants?
think? Oh, I was just going to say, do we think Arthur Smith stays?
I do.
Yeah,
it's like a 50-50 shot right now, man.
I
could see it either way at this point because they came in there and they throttled the Colts. I thought the week before was kind of the nail in the coffin for Arthur Smith and kind of ended their season, and then they come out and do that to the Colts. And I think his scheme is good. It's just like he doesn't want to use the really good players in that, which is
he needs
weird.
someone else to call plays and let him just design the offense, and then let someone call plays to actually use the good pieces they've drafted.
Right. Yeah. I know what you know because you know what I know, and I know what you know. Kind of, he's outsmarting himself at this point.
Exactly.
I could see the Giants drafting a quarterback though, because they did the same to Eli. They let him sit. They let Daniel Jones sit behind Eli. I know it was the end of Eli's career and everything like that. But it's not like Daniel Jones, other than 1.5 seasons where we're like, oh man, he could really be the guy. And those 1.5 seasons got him paid.
It might be generous too. It was really like 3/4 of one, I think.
Right. There's a potential out in 2025 as well. So you let your rookie sit behind Daniel for a year, get the ropes, everything like that, and then things.
I like it.
Sure.
I like it.
DJ Moore doesn't think that Justin Fields should be traded either, for what it's worth. He thinks he should be the starting quarterback. He said so on 670 The Score. Gotta imagine that's a Chicago local station.
I would assume so.
Dolphins at Ravens. You guys starting the Gus Bus in your championships?
Probably. Actually, yes, I am in 1 week. So
if I have them, I will.
Last 2 Gus Bus runs at the end of that 49ers Ravens game, one of those last 2 got me into a championship game. I needed 2 more carries from him. Yeah. And then he ripped off the 13-yarder. I'm like, yes.
Let's go.
Not even the stat corrections.
Yeah, if I can't think off the top of my head if I have some Gus Bus right away on any of those. So, but if I had them, I'd start them.
Sweet. Sounds like no Waddle. Anybody trust A-Chain in the finals here?
Trust? No. Am I gonna start him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Swing
So
for the fences.
I added a little note here. I have to. I just added another A-Chain or A-Chain trade share. Excuse me. Before you jumped on, Ron, I made a trade with Roy. Hawkinson got injured, so I lost him on one of my finals teams, and I got Laporta and A-Chain for Hawkinson and 4 seconds. Too late, 11 and 12, and then I think it's like 5 and 6. So,
okay.
I like that a lot.
I tried to drop I tried to drop a second, but Ron said, or Roy said no. So I just said, let's not get fancy. Let's just do it.
Do it. Saints at Buccaneers. You guys trusted Mike Evans versus the Saints?
Yeah, why not? I'm ready to get hurt again.
At this rate, you kind of have to. I think
Lattimore is out for what it's worth.
Yeah. But we've talked about this before, but Saints at Bucks is always a
Just
barn
nasty.
burner. They always,
Yes, it is.
at each other's throats. There's always fights. There's always something. So, but Mike Evans has shown week after week he gets it done. So I feel pretty. I wouldn't say I'm too confident, but I feel good with this one. And I personally think it's an Alvin Kamara week. Derek Carr, I think, is going to come down to earth. He had a really good game last week, but I just feel it's going to be Alvin Kamara week. It's it's at the Buccaneers. So I'm hoping maybe he has 6 touchdowns again, like he did at a couple Christmases ago.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a fun game, that's for sure. Do you think Derek Carr is still the starting quarterback in New Orleans next season?
Yes, only because there aren't a lot of other options. They're stuck with them.
I was going to look up
been there.
I was going to look up the contract, but I don't really need to because I just think kind of exactly what Jay said is there's not many other options. There's not many off the free agent wire. I just think, I don't think Dennis Allen's going anywhere. So I just think it's going to be kind of the same for the Saints, and they're going to be met again next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's got like 52 million in dead cap next year.
Yeah,
so
he's not going anywhere.
He's not going
Their out
anywhere
is until like 2026.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Saints? What are you doing? It's
a shame.
It is. Fire up your Alvin Kamara. That's what we got from that. Patriots at Bills. Do you think the Patriots can play spoiler again here for the Bills?
No.
I do not.
Bills have been humming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone on the Bills has been humming except Stephon Diggs.
And then James Cook when we needed him most last week disappeared.
What do you guys think about Stephon Diggs' future? Do you think this is a little blip, or maybe the long seasons are finally getting to him and he's slowing down at the end of the year here?
I think he's slowing down.
Because to start the year, everything seemed fine. I didn't have any concerns at all about Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at his contract. I think unless he throws a fit, I think he's back in Buffalo next year. But don't underestimate wide receivers going all diva mode and getting an out. But he's not been playing well. This is 2 years in a row where he started out the year strong, and the second half of the year just really trickled off. So, and the Bills have some wide receiver problems. Like, because Gabe Davis isn't anything special. Khalil Shakir is fine. I don't know, man. This is interesting. I'm curious to see what happens in the offseason. I think they're definitely one. I think they're in prime position to draft one of those receivers, probably in the back end of the first round. But Diggs, I think Diggs is not the same, wide receiver 1 that we wanted him to be. I think now he's probably more in like a mid wide receiver 2 kind of range, and we have to start thinking about Diggs differently than we used to.
Yeah, sure. I completely agree. He's just week after week now. He's been pretty rough. So, I'm starting to get out on Stephon Diggs.
I traded him for Mark Andrews in the league.
Nice.
I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah. I was super happy with that. And then he threw up the 2 duds or whatever. So that was even better.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good trade.
Cardinals at Eagles. What do you guys think about Hollywood's health?
I don't imagine he's gonna come back to play, right? I mean, I don't think it's like a foot, right? That's messed up.
Yeah, his heel.
Yes.
His heel. Yeah, I think that's one of those things where he needs to let that heal up. And then they're not playing for anything, so don't
His
rush
heel's
it
gonna
back.
heal up.
The heel's got to heal up. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't see him playing. I just think if you're gonna continue playing on that, it's just gonna get, continue. It lingers. So I think he needs to sit down and get that healed
Should be
up.
a big Trey McBride week then.
Yeah.
Again.
Ooh, baby. Who's selling high on Jalen Hurts in the offseason?
That was me. I put this note in
That's
there. So he went for 300 this last week, but before that, like it had been like 3 weeks since he went over like 200 yards, like passing. He's been really propped up by 15 rushing touchdowns, which is awesome. But that's not necessarily a repeatable thing. Like he's gotten so lucky. Like I know the little tush push play is like impossible to stop, and that's great. But I mean, how many times are Eagles receivers and running backs going to go down at the one over and over and over again? Like he's getting the benefit of the doubt on a lot of these, but like for me, like I know right now he's kind of tiered up there with like Allen and Mahomes and that kind of that tier one of like dynasty quarterbacks. But I would this offseason I'd really be seeing if I could ship him off for maybe like a Herbert or and then try to get like some kind of a plus and try to package down a little bit. I don't know, man. I am a little nervous that he's just not a great passer and he's getting propped up by rushing yards and touchdowns, which as he starts to get older and older, the legs start to go out. The wheels can come off on some of these rushing quarterbacks faster than some of the pocket passers. So
yeah, I agree there a bit. I think you're gonna have to sell when he's like having a good game. So that like this would be a good time if your trade deadlines, you don't have a trade deadline, or just kind of wait. Hopefully he has 2 good games here, and you can sell him in the off season. But I like the call out for Herbert because he's gonna get a new quarterback, or excuse me, new coach. But he's got a lot of old people around, old players around him. So I do worry a little bit there, but I like Herbert a lot. Another guy that I think you could maybe get a plus with would be like a Burrow. I know he's got the injuries and stuff, but I do like Burrow a lot. He's secure with the contract. He's got Jamar Chase connected to him. I think they're going to get another quarterback, or excuse me, another wide receiver. So I just think, I think that Burrow is going to be all right next year.
Would you trade Hurts straight up for CJ Stroud? I think I would. I think I would take Stroud.
That's hard, but I think I'm with you. I think I would just be the way that, it's going to take some time, but I think, Hurts is going to go down in the rankings and Stroud's going to go up, so right away that doesn't feel good, but I think, over the long run, this is, something that is always changing. So I think that's a good move.
Give me a early or a mid 2 with CJ Stroud, and I do it.
Ooh,
I just more proven with Hurts at the NFL level at this point. I know CJ has been tearing it up, blah 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 blah, but those rushing yards, man. And if Hurts starts hitting the deep ball again with AJ Brown, then all of a sudden all the issues are, washed away, and everybody's like, "Oh man, I can't believe you doubted this guy." Because I did it. I doubted Jalen Hurts after his first year. I was like, this dude's a bum. He can't throw the ball. Blah 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 blah. That deep ball starts going again, man. Everything starts flowing again.
I don't think he's been the same since he hurt his shoulder at the end of last year. I don't know. I'm a little worried. Mark me worried.
Okay.
On Jalen Hurts.
All right. Put it in the notes. Click clap.
Perfect.
So Panthers at Jaguars. Is T-Law going to be healthy for this game? Are you trusting T-Law to start him?
If you have T-Law, you're probably not in the finals. Just
let me tell you what, I am, and he's my only quarterback.
Whoa.
Then you are starting him.
I lost Burrow and I lost Pickett.
That is a
Yeah,
not
The
great
trade
quarterback.
deadline has passed.
Well, you're in
lame.
a situation where you are starting him, so I
Yeah,
hope
I
for
might
your
have to
sake.
start Taysom Hill at quarterback.
If he doesn't, yeah, wow.
Yeah, if Burrow doesn't, or if T-Law doesn't play.
So before the show, me and Jay were kind of chatting it up a bit with T-Law, and we both kind of said he doesn't look right. He looked pretty rough last week. So I don't trust to start him, but in spots that I have him, I can't think off the top of my head if I have him in finals games, but I think one of them I have Russell Wilson as my third quarterback. So now I am starting T-Law.
Yeah.
So
you're stuck now.
Yeah. So I don't trust, to be honest, I don't trust the Jaguars at all. I don't trust ETN this week. I
don't trust this game in general.
Yes.
Like I don't want
yes.
and I don't want the Panthers side. I don't want the Jaguars side. Calvin Ridley maybe.
What about Chuba?
No.
Yeah.
Thielen and Chark just lit up the Packers, man.
No. I mean the Jaguars have a good secondary. I don't.
Yeah. True.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't like this game. I'm with you.
McSpanky's playoff eligible could win the AFC West Raiders if they got to win out, right?
They got to win out and they need the Chiefs to lose out to win the AFC West. But
okay,
so it's probably not going to
I'll
happen.
be rooting for that hard.
That's impressive to throw.
Give me both.
To throw for 69 yards, not complete a pass
after the first quarter, right?
After the first quarter and win the game.
That's insanity.
They won not completing a pass for 3 straight quarters. Can you believe that?
That's so crazy.
Their defense is so good.
Their defense
I mean, is really good.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
It's one of those things where we had a good offense for a while and no defense, and now it just shifted, and the defense is great, but we don't have an offense anymore. So, what are you gonna
do? Is Josh Jacobs gonna play?
I don't know, man.
Does he need to?
Not right, and that's the thing. Maybe we'll see. Like he's one that we're gonna have to watch the practice reports on. Because he had an injury, he had like that quad injury, and then he got sick. I think that screwed him up from not being able to practice and get right. So I don't know how injured he is. So we shall see.
What about Michael Pittman? Is he going to play? I know they took him right up to game time last week. So my guess is
he will, because he practiced last week and he cleared the protocol. I think maybe he just and I don't know if you woke up with a headache or something, just wasn't quite right. But I think given another week, he should be good to go.
Yeah, I read that he had a setback, so I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm assuming he woke up not feeling right. So I think he'll play, and that's going to be big for the finals games for people. Like he's been super good.
Pittman's been awesome.
Yeah. Okay, Rams at Giants. You think Cooper Kupp's going to catch the ball this weekend? Because he had freaking 11 targets last week, and he just didn't catch the dang ball, man. I think he dropped 2 or 3 touchdowns
in the end zone. He dropped.
That's very un-Cooper Kupp,
which he never does.
Nope. Throw the ball to Puka. He'll catch it.
I was going to ask.
They have been.
Puka or Cooper Kupp this week, or if you happen to have both of them and you're playing against Coach Dan in the finals, do you play them both? Just asking for a friend.
I would play them both. Because Kupp, even on a bad week, was still 5 for 60 yards. You know what I mean? Like I know it stinks, and you're like, man, Kupp, what a bum. But usually, you get 5 for 60 in your flex. You're like, all right, we're doing okay here today.
Plus, the Giants' defense is not great, so there's a decent chance they both score and they both go for decent yardage.
Yep, and I think Kyron has a good game too.
Yeah, for sure.
The Giants are going to start Tyrod.
Who cares?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. 49ers at Commanders. Do you think Brock can get right after his Ravens? I think the Commanders are the perfect medicine to get yourself right.
I don't think he needs to. I think they could just hand the ball off to CMC about 40 times and win this game.
Yeah.
Right.
They can hand the ball off to Debo. They can throw the ball over to Ayuk a couple times, and a couple times to Kittle, and they'll be fine.
Trust in Brock in the finals?
I mean, trust is a strong word, but I will put it in my lineup.
Yeah, I have to put him in my lineup. I'm playing Spanky one with Brock Purdy as my one of my quarterbacks, and I'm starting him. I'm a
Okay, we split the
pretty.
pot in that league. It's fine.
It's okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So but no, I don't trust him. And then we talked about it. I think. Oh, no, it wasn't live yet, but Sam Howell. I think he's done.
I think he's
I
dead.
agree. Yeah,
He's gonzo.
He's got a lot to overcome. I mean, he's already been benched twice in game for Brissett. Brissett is now the starter, announced by Ron Rivera, and he's probably going to have a new GM, new head coach, all walk into that building next year.
Well, and they have the 3rd overall pick right now. I mean,
and
that's
a lot.
He's done.
Okay,
as a starter,
Steelers. Yeah. Steelers at Seahawks. Mason Rudolph to continue to start. And should we expect this from George Pickens moving forward?
No, I think this is who George Pickens is. He's going to have these boom games, and then he's like I don't want to call him like Gabe Davis, but he is very boom busty, right? Like he'll have these nice big games where he catches a couple touchdowns, or he makes these like ridiculous plays, and then I think he's gonna have games where he's he's pouting over on the sideline and not blocking for teammates and just being a little punk. So I'm still not a believer in George Pickens.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. To me, he's a little bit of a better Gabe Davis.
Sure.
I will say it
somewhat.
A little more consistent. So boomer bust guy for me as well.
Sure. You guys nervous about Mahomes? He hasn't surpassed 17 points in the past 3 weeks.
I think this is a Matt Nagy problem, and I think Travis Kelce's the wheels are coming off, and there's not like a Tyreek Hill to help that offense, and there's a bunch of receivers who just suck, to say it nicely.
Yeah.
Other than Rashee Rice, I think he's fine, but he's looking better in the offense because there's no one with like good talent around him.
Yeah,
right. Nobody else is even competent. Yeah,
exactly.
And people are starting to notice that Rashee Rice is kind of, I don't want to say the guy, but he's the guy there in Kansas City. And so I think we kind of saw last week against the Raiders that they know, hey, Rashee Rice, they want to get the ball to Rashee Rice. And I don't think Rashee Rice is good enough to overcome that.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight. What about Pacheco?
I think he got hurt again, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he got a
concussion.
He
also fell through a table.
And he fell through a table. I remember that because we were watching the game at my house, and we were like, "Oh, he got a concussion from a knee to the head," and then all of a sudden we see him sit on the medical table and it breaks, and we're like, "Well, if he didn't have a concussion before, he does now." Like, poor guy. Like,
do you think they bought that table in Buffalo? Do you think that's where they bought it?
Yeah.
Saw some people joking like, "Oh, Pacheco to the Bills confirmed." Breaking tables.
What happened to Travis Kelce? Is this the end? Is this it?
It's the Taylor Swift effect, baby.
Taylor and Brittany were looking pretty distraught in the press box. I can tell you that. That is for sure.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Too bad for them. I'm glad they're like the biggest story in
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, how sad is that? That not necessarily we are talking about it, but like that's what NFL
what it's become.
Yeah, like it's sad. I mean, and so I just think honestly, part of it is with Travis Kelce is the Taylor Swift effect. I got to be honest, like, and I just think he's losing a step as well. But I think part of it is,
he's just getting older, and like he did get injured earlier this, like, what was that, week 1 against or right before week 1. I don't know if he's been right since. Like,
he hurt the knee, and then he got hurt against the Vikings. Like he went down with that weird non-contact.
But this happens though when guys start getting older. Sometimes they get an injury and then they start lingering a little bit longer, and they still try to get back, and then other injuries happen, and they start slowing down and they start stacking. So
yeah, my injuries are really stacking up, man. I tell you what, I feel it when I get up in the morning. Ooh, buddy.
I've been on IR for the last 4 years, so
I'm fresh. Throw me out there.
Let's go. Holler? All right, we'll
fresh,
get you out there for sure. We'll get Holler out there playing tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers at Broncos. Is Keenan going to play in this game?
I don't think so. I doubt it. Again the rest of the year. These aren't playing for anything, and he's old.
Neither team is with Russ not playing. This is going to be a crap game for sure. Although I do think Javonte Williams will get a lot because Stidham is meh, so I think they might run the ball a lot. And then
you can run the ball on the Chargers too. Let me tell you what.
Yes, you can.
So do you guys think Eckler is going to be in LA next season? We kind of have a large reset coming.
I think he's going to be on a couch somewhere next season.
Whoa!
I think the only way he's in LA is if he is an LA Ram. To be honest with you,
fair. I don't think that's happening, but that's fair.
He's looked so bad and so slow, and he's old, and no one has wanted to pay him his whole career. I don't think anyone's giving him any kind of money. I think he's going to go the way of kind of like a Dalvin Cook, where he's kind of sitting around, and then maybe an injury happens, or some random contender or thinking they're going to be contender signs him, and he's just kind of the 1B kind of guy. I think the best days of Austin Eckler are well behind.
Yeah, I totally agree.
What a cliff that was.
Yeah,
man,
it came fast. Life comes at you fast.
It does. Packers at Vikings. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson this weekend.
I don't know.
I don't think Watson
plays. I don't think Watson's going to play. Jaden Reed, he didn't practice at all last week. He had like the ankle injury, and then I think he got like a toe designation. So if he doesn't practice again, like there's no way he's playing. And then Hawkinson's out. Obviously, we talked about that. It sounds like Addison's day to day. This is shaping up to be an ugly game.
Yeah, I do think. I do think Jordan Love could put up some numbers against the Vikings. So I think it'll be. But who's he throwing the ball to? I think Tucker Kraft's going to have a good game.
And I think Dontavian Wicks, one of their fourth, fifth string wide receivers, he got hurt too. Yeah. So he's trying to Malik Heath and
Dubs
Romeo
up,
Dubs
dude.
and
Romeo Dubs.
Tucker Kraft. Yeah, it's a short cast over there.
Yeah. We already talked about Hawk and the ACL, so he's definitely not playing. Addison day to day.
So maybe
Justin Jefferson show.
Yeah,
for sure.
Fire him up
in a touch. Book it.
Yeah, right. Easy money right there. 2-minute drive. Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, Holler. I couldn't find any good underdogs this weekend because I didn't look because I've been doing so much Christmas stuff. What you got, Holler?
I'm just gonna go with one final Puka victory lap. I gotta be honest. I was in on him before. I don't know if it was before. We talked about it on here, and I think it was like one guy that was deep before the draft that I thought would be solid, and I picked him then. I don't usually have a hunch on somebody, but for some reason I did. The Rams picked him. He's connected to Stafford now, and just a really good victory lap with Puka for me.
Yeah, man, that's real sweet. Call. Because we forgot to mention it during the Jaguars game. I put it on there. I just forgot. Trevor Etienne transferred to Georgia, which is super exciting for old Trevor. Yeah. Go ahead, Spanky.
I got another Debbie one here too. So Nico, and I'm gonna butcher his last name. I think it's Iamaleava, I think is how you pronounce it. He was one of the top ranked quarterbacks in the last recruiting class. He's gonna start the bowl game for Tennessee this week. On Monday, I believe that game is against Iowa. So for all you Debbie guys, take a look here. He's 2026 eligible, I think. So just
Tennessee could be good next year.
Forecasting there. That's all I got.
Go Vols, I think. I don't know. Anyway. Sure. All right. You guys ready to get out of here?
Let's do it.
All right.
See you. Have a good day.